such a scenario. The environmental impact assessment certificate is required for any development or interference with the wetland, and this is some of the amendments which are being done. And unfortunately, we've had so much corruption in this great nation of ours over the years that sometimes, Mr. Mavondo, when I drive around and I see people building a 3-story building on a wetland, I actually am in shock, and I'm wondering which blind person from Emma would have allowed such developments to happen. So one of the things that I promised your minister is that from now on, if there's a wetland which has been given a certificate to say this is fine, we should allow people to challenge that certificate. We should allow that, because sometimes we can't connive in offices and agree at the expense of the residents who are on the ground. And to those who know me, I don't say, I'm not a politician, by the way. I say things because they're technically correct. So even though I'm sitting with the mayor, if he's wrong, he's wrong. If the town clerk is wrong, they're wrong. And if Emma is wrong on certain parts, it is wrong. So as it is right now, we've got so many buildings which are being built, especially houses in the low density suburbs, where right now I can tell you, if you go into Roe Valley, if you go into the Grange, you go into Borodale, you go into Warren Park, you go down to Mapuku, a lot of places, even if you go into Tafara, you go into Epworth, there are people who are holding valid Emma certificates, but in an invalid piece of land. So these are some of the things. That's why when you call them here, we all know that Harare has got a greater master plan. The areas which are wetlands, ladies and gentlemen, have not been built since 1960s for a reason. They were left out on the master plan. It was not an omission. It was actually part of the plan that they be left out. It's as simple as that. So that's why I said we need to look and say, how did we get here? So that we can be able to do that. So at the end of the day, if you've done an assessment, let's publicize it. And so that the residents and the community and the stakeholders at large can see the assessment and say, this we agree with. South Africa had an issue with urban mining. There's also the issue to do with large property developments. Large property developments, whilst they are good for us as a province, they need to also be good for the environment. Let me echo my displeasure, and I want it on record, that it's very bad that we have people who believe that because they are building larger property development projects, they are actually, to an extent, immune. There are people who feel protected, Your Worship, by council. In particular, I'm very worried about developments happening around the Borodale Racecourse area. I'm very worried about what's happening in Groombridge, because I grew up watching those wetlands. Yes, people might have been farming, but I'm very worried because now I see a lot of wetlands. You just wake up in the morning and there's a grader which is already making roads, and you can see that stands are going to come. But the basic law of construction, civil, what says that you put a board up, which simply says, this is we're building this is the stakeholder, this is the person who's constructing, and this is the ministry which approved. That's just the basic law. I think your city bylaws say that very clearly. But if you go around the city of Harare, there's no development with the board.